Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press, the board office, the schools, and on Cablevision 118 and Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the township clerk. The meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, August 16, 2022. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Joseph?
Thank you, Mr. Weber. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of the board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Roll call.
Ms. Burns,
Present.
Ms. Callie,
Here.
Ms. Francisco, Mr. Giordano,
Here.
Ms. Lent,
Present.
Mr. Marqueta,
Here.
Mr. Slade,
Here.
Mr. Silikowski,
Here.
Mr. Weber.
Here.
Quorum exists.
Okay. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stay. No, we'll do that. We'll do it regular meeting. Okay. The student representative is long gone. We don't have any recognition. Superintendent's report. Anything?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few items as we excitedly approach the beginning of the school year. Information that I think is helpful for the public to know and the board surely to know is that since the schools closed for the end of the 2021-22 school year, we immediately began preparing for the 2022-23 school year. I know our Assistant Superintendent of Schools is working diligently on personnel pieces. As of June 28th, 2022, we have filled 20 full-time positions. We had 20 to fill. At that point, we had filled 11. I know we've continued to fill some more as of this report and continued to do interviews. You can see by going around our schools and around this property, plenty of our maintenance work is being done, and our custodial work in our schools to get our schools ready. You've seen the bus depot and maintenance transition to their new locations, and we've excitedly began to prepare our teachers and our administrators for the 2022-2023 school year. So on August 23rd, 25th will be our superintendent's retreat, where we prepare them with information and the legal updates for the new school year, any new initiatives the district will be undertaking. We'll have a summer institute for any teachers who are invited. We always get a very large amount of teachers coming in under their own to learn more and get better prepared for how to best serve our students. Dr. Hoker, how many people do we have signed up for the Summer Institute this year so far?
Approximately 130.
130 of our staff coming in on their own, volunteering to come in for those days to get that information, again, to be better prepared to support learning within our school district. Our teachers will come back on September 1st and 2nd for their in-service days. So we have an exciting venue set up for them to return and prepare for the school year. And some more information that I think is very important for everyone in this district, all stakeholders, is the strategic planning calendar. The planning of that took place over the course of the summer with our board president, Mr. Weber, myself, and representatives, Marion Friedman from the New Jersey School Boards Association, who will still remain on as our strategic planning point person. Our first meeting will take place on October 13th, 2022. That is scheduled right now, and it'll take place, all these meetings will take place at the high school, 7 p.m. in the Old Bridge High School cafeteria. November 14th, that is a Monday. The first meeting is a Thursday. October 13th is a Thursday. We try to move them around in case, you have a night job and you work Monday nights, and it's always not good for you, so we can get new people in. November 14th, 2022 will be the second meeting, and our third meeting will be on December 6th. That is a Tuesday. Unless anything changes tonight under new business related to this or old business, I will then publish this information and send it out to everyone within the community so they can plan these meetings accordingly and be part of this very important development of a 5-year strategic plan. That concludes my report for this evening.
Special committee reports?
No, but we will have a committee meeting Monday, curriculum, and it will be a committee at whole, and hopefully we'll try to get as many board members there as possible, and people from the public to express their feelings on the curriculum. Thank you. 7 o'clock in the library over here at the high school.
Yeah, and it's being done there, so we would not have necessarily too many people here. We have a larger venue there. Hearing of the residents on agenda items only. Now, there is no voting done tonight other than the exceptional things like finance and such. We arranged the special committee of the whole, which means the full board is participating, and normally it's capped at 4 people. And we've done that because we feel it's, in setting that meeting, myself and Mr. Sulikowski, we know that there's concerns out in the community about what the curriculum will be, and we want to make sure that we have as much time as possible. There will be voting done the next time, which is the regular meeting next week. So at this point, you can ask a question, but we're not really in a position to answer some of them now, or we can just hold it and wait till the meeting on next Monday.
No, it's, I'm sorry. It's it says on page 3, but it's buried in there. The comments now are for action items only, like items that will be voted upon tonight.
All right. So I open it to the public. If there is no one, we'll.
Andrew Lewis, OBEA. On tonight's action agenda, there are 10 resignations that the board will be voting to accept. That's coupled with the 8 from the June agenda. So 18 certified staff alone have resigned this summer. And while it's good to see many of those positions are being filled with candidates on tonight's agenda, it's still concerning to see that we're losing 18 of our staff members this summer alone. And it's not an isolated issue in Old Bridge. It's across the state, across the country. But when this many veteran educators are leaving Old Bridge, we have to ask why. I know in some examples it's their salary. We're hiring people tonight at a higher step than some of those who are leaving, despite some of those having been here for 9 or 10 years. Those steps and their salary guide placement does not reflect that. Some of the new hires, it will. I'm hopeful that as we begin the 22-23 school year, the OBA can have continued partners with administration and the board to ensure that Old Bridge is a district where the best want to come to work and hopefully stay working. Thank you.
Policy, Chris?
Yeah, just as a note, there are second reading action items on for next Tuesday, but for the board's consideration tonight, I would recommend that you add the abolishment of a policy. For those of you who aren't aware, the governor signed executive order, we're up to 302 now, on yesterday, which eliminates the test or vaccination requirement for your staff members, and it was effective immediately. It's effective yesterday. So because of that, your policy 1648.13, which parroted the language of Executive Order 253, is no longer necessary, and in fact, it's not valid at this point. So it only requires one reading to add that to your policy agenda for next week, if the board cares to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Shall we add that, Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Everyone good with that?
That's 1648.13?
Yes.
Okay, will do.
I have a question. So being that the health and physical education curriculum is on number 3 of item 16, would it be possible to, before we take action on it next week, would it be possible to have that information as far as materials and whatnot be sent to the board, so we know what we're voting on regarding that?
Well, I'm happy to see, after requests, that we're going to have the board meeting, the curriculum meeting next Monday, and I know it is the goal of, and what will happen is that all of that will be presented as it traditionally is. We present it to the committee, and once the committee approves it, then it goes into the entire board. We never send something to the entire board until the committee says, supports it to go on to the entire board. So unless there's something different that would happen in this structure.
The difference is, Dave, is that we're having a committee of the whole, so we're all entitled to this same paperwork.
Right. So it'll happen at the curriculum meeting.
Yeah, but they should
Yes.
get it well in advance, because it's going to be a
Right.
comprehensive piece to read.
Exactly.
So you think we'd be able to get that beforehand? Or are we
Yes,
going to get that?
You will get it before,
before.
trust me.
Okay. Only, again, only because it's such a sensitive topic. And
Absolutely.
I believe, and like I said in the emails, I believe that as transparent as we could be with that. That's the only reason why. So,
Agreed.
thank you.
That's why we requested to have the meeting earlier.
Okay.
I disagree with that, though. And the reason why I didn't have it earlier, because in July, a lot of people wouldn't show up, and it would have been pushed through. It would have been forgotten about probably in September, okay? So I held off till the very end, and that's why I did it.
All right, moving on.
Just in the future, just correspond with, when we send an email asking that information, if we had that, it'd be very helpful. Just not responding to the email doesn't make it helpful for us in planning. So we have to schedule a meeting at the last minute.
When would the curriculum material have been available for us to do that sooner? When was the administration prepared to have a meeting of this content discussion? In June, July?
Well, as you know, the request went out June 3rd, and if the board said that we would need to have the information by the end of July, we would have had the information by the end of July. But there was no response to that email, and then a second email went out on August 9th, and still no response. It wasn't until yesterday a request for a meeting took place.
Let's move on.
Okay. We're up to finance.
Up to finance, and you do have action on numbers 1 and 2.
Okay. All right, finance, we are voting on items 1 and 2. Is there any discussion?
You have a motion.
Yeah. I'll move it. Is there a second?
Lentoul, second.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
All right, are there any other questions on any item in here to be discussed?
Mr. Weber, I would just like to refer the board members to item number 14. Move the Board of Ed approve the application by the superintendent to the DOE for stabilization aid in the amount of blank. So in the last week, the state has notified us that S2 districts, which we are as a result of the state aid cuts, are eligible to apply for supplemental state aid. However, it's a very lengthy process, but we did start it today. We had a committee meeting today of the administration, and we came up with at least an application for $6.2 million of possible aid that we'll be asking for. Whether it happens or not, we're not sure, but next week you will see the actual number that we'll be applying for. The application has to be submitted by September 16th.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Moving on to athletics. No voting. Any questions on the board on athletics? If not, we'll move on. Non-certificated personnel office. No action to be taken. Non-certificated personnel operational. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Non-certificated personnel other. We have a retirement. We'll discuss that at the actual meeting.
On a couple of those items, Ms. Lent and Ms. Callie, you may have abstentions. If you can just check to see who's listed on the action items and the attachments for next Tuesday.
No other questions? We'll move on. We'll move on. Yeah. Anything on this we're voting on?
Two certified personnel, and you have action on 1 through 6. You have to page 18.
All right. 1 through 6. All right, we do have a action to be taken on items 1 through 6. Hang on a second, let me shut this off. Sorry about that. My apology. All right. 6 continues on to page, all right, it's the 3 pages, items 1 through 6, pages 18, 19, and 20.
Mr. Weber, we just have one correction in number 4, H. The date should be 9/27/22.
All right, thank you. Got that, Dave? Joe? All right, thank you. All right, is there a motion to go forward?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Lent will second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, separating number 1 for discussion, Mr. Weber.
Okay. All right, Matt, go ahead.
Okay, move the board approve the retirement of the following staff member with deep appreciation for the years of dedicated service to the district. Deborah Hunter, Old High School Business, 9 years. Congratulations and good luck. The board wishes you a lot of good luck. Thank you.
All right. Hearing no other discussion, roll call.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Solikowski,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6.
All right, is there any discussion on the other items 7 through 33? Hearing none, we'll go forward. Non-certificated personnel transportation. Are there any questions? And no action items? Okay. Just as an aside, Joe, is the getting bus drivers improving? No. Yeah, I probably knew that, but I was hoping for something better.
What's
Okay.
fortunate is that we're not losing bus service.
Okay, well, that's in the right direction, going nowhere. I'd rather go up, so. Okay. Transportation, items 1 through 5, any discussion? Hearing none. And we are, item 25, supplies, equipment, and services. Any action? Any questions from the board?
Mr. Weber, on item number 1, I just wanted to advise the board that we do need to buy 3 pickup trucks and 1 Bobcat. We definitely need the Bobcat because of the move of the Nike base to the present location. Where they will be receiving all their materials is not hand deliverable to where their actual location is. And the 3 pickup trucks that we're purchasing, and this is under a lease purchase, the trucks that we have are between 15 and 23 years old. So it's time for 3 new buses, 3 new pickup trucks.
Okay. And we buy them at a provider usually that honors a state rate, or?
Yeah, we buy them under a state contract or
Okay.
under a co-op agreement.
All right, very good. Hearing no questions, we'll move on to miscellaneous. Any items?
1 to 8, no action.
Okay. Items 1 through 8, does anybody from the board have a question? Hearing none, we'll move on. Board secretary and board business, Joe?
Do have action on number 1.
All right. We have action on item number 1.
Giordano motion.
Weber will second. Discussion?
Mr. Weber again. So the Old Bridge Township Board of Ed is a participant in the state health benefits plan, and we pay approximately $19 million a year for medical coverage for all of our staff members. And the proposed increase in their premiums for January is 15.6%.
Wow.
So our local tax levy, if we went to the maximum of 2% on the local tax levy, that's approximately $2 million. So both state organizations have asked us to put this resolution on the agenda tonight for voting, submit it to the state, saying that this is outrageous, especially since in the month of February this year, last academic year, the state gave us a free month of health coverage where we did not have to pay the premiums. So now they gave us a free month of no premiums and no collection from the employees, and they turn around and they give us a 15.6% increase in the premiums effective January.
And
So I did take a look at marketing the medical coverage to see if we could leave the state health benefits plan, and it's not possible at this point. So we have to stay in the state health benefits plan.
And this is, do you know if all of the school districts, well, of the people who use the plan we're in, did they all get the 15% increase?
It's a statewide,
Okay. All right, just want to
increase.
make sure and let the public know. All right, we have no other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Sulikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
All right. We've got the planning dates listed under old business. Do we have any expected date when we will be hearing from the demographer?
The draft report is being reviewed presently,
Okay.
but it should be done shortly, but I cannot put a specific date
All
on
right,
it.
we'll just look shortly, is fine. On this? Yeah. No. No. All right, at this point, we will open to the audience hearing of the residents on any school district item.
Hi, Matthew DeFranco, resident and parent. You somewhat answered my question I was going to ask before about the demographer report, but will that be provided to the residents, or at least online, prior to that October 13th meeting of the strategic planning? And then secondly, Mr. Silikowski, I certainly like that you want to get everybody involved, but I would ask if you can get off your high horse, because your concern about wanting to make sure everybody's involved in this meeting doesn't jive with the fact that you gave the bare minimum notice of 7 days. You can certainly give more notice than that. It's just bare minimum that you have to give 7 days. So, actions and words kind of don't go alignment. Thank you.
Seeing no one else, I will close the hearing of residents. Anything under new business?
Mr. Weber, do you want to address the question about the strategic plan, the demographer's report?
I think we need to review that because she may not be at the point in this meeting where she's going to even talk about that. So I have a call in for her. I'll talk to her in the morning and ask her.
Okay. We'll let the public know, get an update at the next meeting.
I believe it certainly will be available online now. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. So the minute we get it, it should go up online. All right.
Did we cover old business yet, or?
No, the only thing we asked is, if you have another question?
I do. It's been a few months. I was just curious where we're at with the reconfiguration of the members of
I will have
the
that
committee.
I will have that for you Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to new business.
Yes. Speaking of our legislators, with the passing of Ronald Dancer, I'd like to again thank him for introducing the bill that I helped him draft, where we would be able to move capital reserves to educational expenses. I know we aren't allowed to do that, and with the budget cuts coming up, being able to do that would be very important to do. So I just like to thank him again for introducing that in both legislative sessions. And with this new thing we just passed, it's good that we're having our voices heard, and that this didn't receive the negative feedback or the obstruction that previous attempts at this have had. So thank you.
Anyone else for new business?
I have a couple of things. A resident reached out to me. They said that they were looking at some other websites and Board of Ed members, and in most of the websites that they were reviewing, the term end is listed in parentheses. So it would say, like, Jill Cali, parentheses, 2022. Could we add that to the website? Okay. Wait, sorry, hold on. My phone just went out. Also, Mr. Cittadino, what's the timeline for parents getting, like kindergarten parents getting notification as to what class they're in, or even what school they're in, if it was questionable based on, based on the numbers, if they were going to be attending a different school? I've just seen a lot of people who unfortunately turned to Facebook. There was one woman who turned to Facebook to complain she hadn't gotten a letter, and the comments went on, and in the end somebody said, "Oh, I got my letter Friday," and she said, "Oh, I was away for the weekend. I'll have to check." So I would really, to the public, caution you to check your emails and to call the schools with any question rather than turning to Facebook. But I just figured I would ask what the timeline was. Were those letters out?
I would not say at any point, unless it's a special situation related to an IEP or such, that has been identified as to placement and schedule of students at this point. Traditionally, there's to continue to work on the schedule with the high school, the elementary schools, the middle schools, and that information usually goes out the second to last weekend or last weekend in August. Dr. Tui, do you have any other information on that? Well, I mean, just the timing, the question is about the timing of placement for students in classrooms and schedules going out.
Preschool should have gone out today and tomorrow for the upcoming school year. We're still finalizing those lists with transportation. And then the special ed letters will go out, if they haven't gotten out already, no later than the end of the week.
But specifically, general education usually goes out when?
Like elementary, your
The-
son is in this class.
The elementary lists are going to be going out next week. The kindergarten overflow information will go out next week. So it is in process and starting, and then the portals open, I believe, the last week in August. I think it's the 29th is when the portals open, and then parents will have access to everything online.
Okay. And I think the last thing I have is, I was supposed to attend the last town council meeting as a resident of the Arbors. There was a presentation from several neighbors and also from the engineer and the police department regarding speeding. Somehow, that entire presentation and all of the problems was turned into, by one council person, as the problem is the buses and the staff at McDivitt. So I'm just not really happy about that, but I just wanted to point out that there's, a lot of measures that are going to be taken in that area. I think there is a speeding problem in several areas in town, and they are working on it, although I wasn't happy that the end of the meeting turned into, was tried to be turned into a Board of Ed problem, which it's not. And I'm sorry, one more question. I was asked about security during ESY. Do we,
Yes. I'm not going to go into detail into what our security plan is.
I don't
There-
want you to go
there
into
is-
detail, and I totally
There
understand.
is a security presence during ESY.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else for new business?
I'm not sure if this is new business, but I did want to make a comment about the curriculum meeting. I had sent an email asking when it would be. Unfortunately, I'll be away that day, so I am hoping that administration can get that curriculum stuff out to members who might not be able to make it.
Just going through my notes, we've had it ready to go to the board since July 28th. There's a link available in the curriculum office with the request of the board president. We can send that link out as early as tomorrow.
Okay, so the board president will have to,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Mrs. Callie's not going to be there either, so it's our intention to do that.
Yes, we're going into exec session for matters of personnel and matters of attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Need a motion.
I'll move it.
Lent will second.
Roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're going into executive session at 8:04.
Yeah. As the lawyer described, we will be not coming out of, when we come out of closed session, the meeting is going to be adjourned, so there's no reason for anybody to hang around unless they just want to look at it.